Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Brad Tassell. We are live. 1,000 Marriage Questions. We have an incredibly special day today with a very good friend, Joe Bronzi, who's a comic that I've worked with on Carnival and had a lot of fun. One of my favorite people to tour with, and his wife, Linsday Gelfand. I hope I said that right. And they are married, and they're going to talk to today. And they're going to answer, by the way, they don't know this. They're going to answer this question because last week, if you remember, for the almost 2,000 people that have seen the show so far, except for Joe, who didn't make it all the way through, the question that we ended with was, how do I get my husband to stop asking me to poke his butt? So so Joe and Lindsay may not know, but they're listening. I have a bucket. It says joke, but what's in it is over 1,000 marriage questions. I think Joe might remember if he watched my show that I do a marriage show on the ships, and it shows, and I give people questionnaires to ask me marriage questions that I answered during the show. And I get way more than I could ever answer during a show because we only get through 10 or 12. So I put them in this bucket. So I called Donna Wilburn, who is an actual marriage therapist, not a fake comedian like me. And we got together to do the show. And then we bring on famous and great couples who are married and have great marriages. And we make them answer uncomfortable questions and also talk about their marriage and hope they weather it. So we're going to start in just a second. We're going to play the opening, and then we're going to have all our friends in here. Here we go.
1,000 Questions is an entertaining discussion of marriage. We aren't telling you to do or feel or change anything about your life. Really, just listen and enjoy. And if you need real help, find a professional for your specific problem. We don't know you. How could we speak to your deal? Okay, have fun.
Yeah. So as always, we start by welcoming Donna Wilburn, who now has her website up on her thing. So we don't need to put up her email or anything. You can just go to Red Rock Counseling and you can get the help you need. Donna, how are you?
Good, thanks. Back to work. Busy. Super busy.
It is a tough time for people in many, many ways. In fact, Joe and Lindsay and I were talking about some couples that have had a real big struggle as the COVID has gone on, found out that being together wasn't what they thought it was going to be. That 3 months in the same house, nobody gone, nobody leaving, was more than their marriage could handle, which is very, very sad. So Donna, now let's welcome Lindsay. I'm doing weird broadcasting voice today. I don't know why. Let's welcome Joe Bronzi and Lindsay Gelfand. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Okay, so now you guys answer that question because we talked before the show. Not the question about the butt thing. We'll get to that in a second. And maybe there's gloves and Vaseline around for you to join. But anyway, so talk about this, the fact that, Joe, you've been a comic full-time, how many years?
20.
20 years. Lindsay worked on a ship. She spent a lot of time on the road. You guys, even though you're married, had never spent all your time together. What made you become closer together over the last 3 months as opposed to what might have broken you up?
Well, we've only been married since October, but we have known each other since 2011. And so being on the road, Lindsay does professional makeup on sets. You're right. This is the first time we've been together 24/7. And I did the math comparing these 3 months to the rest of our marriage, and it works out that at the pace we previously set, we've now been married for 47 years.
That's right. And she looks great. It's a little rough for you, but she looks great. So, well, but can you really tie anything to what you, because people have little arguments. And you guys live in an apartment, right? How big is the apartment?
It's a one bedroom.
Like 645 square feet.
One bedroom. See, Don and I both live in palatial mansions in wide open spaces. You guys live in that heart of a city in a little apartment. What has really, do you think, been the key? Can you, and then Donna, you're going to talk about what the key should be.
Color coordinating your outfit.
I love it.
Every day.
Yeah.
It happened by accident. No, when this first started, when the pandemic, when the quarantine started, there was a lot of uncertainty as to duration. And Brad, as a professional comic, a lot of uncertainty as far as income. Lindsay's industry also shut down completely, film and television, for her to do makeup on set. So there was not only a tremendous amount of time together where we hadn't had that in a small space, but a tremendous amount of stress on the relationship. Financial, as Donna will tell you, is what financial stress, one of the great stressors on relationships. And to be honest with you, I think we weathered it really well, unless my occasional stomach aches are due to her putting arsenic in my food and she's trying to kill me.
No.
So no, that's not the arsenic. Something else.
Try everything.
Okay, Donna. So Donna, what should people do, and what do they do in these situations?
So I have to tell you, like, people actually really held it together very well. They, did not rip each other heads off, or like nothing exploded while they're together. But it's now that we're allowed out of the cage that people are starting to get a little jumpy out there. So it's when you're in a really stressful situation, and a lot of couples will tell you this, it's almost like, okay, this is us. We're a good team. We got things to do. Like, you make it work. But when it's over and you're allowed to let your guard down, for those of people that it's like a spring wound tight and then unleashed. And I can't tell you how many couples are coming in now because they're about to rip each other's face off.
So you're saying that Joe and Lindsay, now that this is going to be over, they're not going to make it.
No, they will if they realize that it's just stress. You don't really want to rip each other's face off. Go run or something.
And don't take it out on the other person.
No.
Well, luckily we've been through multiple crazy, stressful situations together since we've known each other. So this is just something else that we need to overcome together. And unfortunately or fortunately, we're used to these types of, like, not panic, but
stressful situation. We went through, when we first met, I was legally separated, but still in the midst of a brutal custody battle divorce, which takes a tremendous toll. And we pretty early on were very supportive of each other and were good together in a stressful situation. And then we've been through multiple family health crises since we've been together. Unemployment, because I'm a comic. I mean, that just comes with the territory.
Yeah, we're used to the money stress.
Yeah. So we were battle tested as far as crises, but it's very new for Lindsay to have to deal with me 24/7 every day. And I noticed that the alcohol and cocaine consumption has gone up tremendously.
But then that causes the money stress. Nothing. Right. I would switch to meth. Meth is cheaper.
Meth is cheaper.
But I think what works with us is that he's very calm in big stressful situations, and I'm more of the worrier. So he can talk me off a ledge. And then
in the everyday situations,
he
gets more aggravated with things.
Drama queen.
Do you have a tiara?
Little tiara. So, Lindsay, and this is something that I noticed about Joe, and we spent quite a bit of time together. Have you ever gotten a bite of a meal you've had with Joe Bronzi? We went out. We ate about 3 or 4 times, and every time we would order something, we get an appetizer together. And he would do I've got a lot of brothers elbow right in my face and start shoveling the food into his face, just blocking you out. I was like, I can't get into the. I just want to be that.
I'm glad somebody else has had this experience and can voice it, because yes, that's the excuse he uses all the time.
Yeah.
I have 1 of 7. I have to fend for myself and eat as much as I can. He'll be finished a meal. I'll put it down and he'll be finished the meal before I take my second bite.
I am like a wolf. I am. It's embarrassing. I try and slow myself down. And Brad, I don't know why you didn't learn after our first lunch together never to share anything with me.
Well, because then we got because that was in Cozumel. Palmeiras, which is my wife's favorite place. Very touristy. And then we went to the crab place in Progresso. And it was the same thing with the ceviche. And I was like, I should have got my own ceviche. I don't know why. But,
It's been a problem my entire social life. I dated a German girl in college and went to her family's for dinner the first time, finished my meal and looked up, and they had all full plates, and they were looking at me in fear for their lives, worried I was going to start on them. And then she came for dinner at my family's house, had a full plate, and my family's clearing the table around her.
Oh, so the only stress in your marriage is the eating. But that's okay. I think so. Okay.
It's good if you're on a diet, because then he just finishes everything for you. And you don't have to
you don't even get a chance. Your plate's gone, his plate's gone. I'm reminded of the movie Blended, where he drinks her beer as she goes to the restroom. Reach for the restroom. Where's my beer? Oh, you drank it. I don't think
in big families, it's survival of the fittest.
There you go.
I come from a licensed Italian family too. Yeah, I come from a big family too, and if you don't get that stuff in your mouth first, you won't get any. Like you'll lose. You snooze, you lose. Like that's how it works.
And Donna, back me up on this. Maybe this is my own pathology, but coming from a big family, 7 kids in a small raised ranch, I can't go to the bathroom unless the door is locked. I lock the door. If you don't lock the door, people walk in. She said, you don't have to lock the door. I say, how would you know the door is locked unless you tried it and found it locked and we're going to walk in on me?
It means you want to walk in. I knew it would happen. We just give up and don't even close it anymore.
Right, yeah, we've discussed this.
Yeah.
And it was a question that came out, and Donna let us know that she and her husband are talking, sitting, peeing, the whole 9 yards.
It's communal. It's a communal bathroom.
Not me. And I have a friend who grew up that had a toilet right in the middle of their bedroom. They just get out of bed and walk over and go to the bathroom right there in front. I can't. Nope. Shut the door. I say I'm in here.
I'm very biased. I think a woman's body is beautiful. And I think Lindsay's beautiful in any circumstance, any lighting, anything across the board. I think if she walks in on me on the toilet, she will leave me immediately. She will turn around, grab a suitcase, and go out the door. That's how I feel.
That's a complex. I doubt she's that shallow, but I'm going to say that's probably a bit of a complex. You might want to look at that.
You might want to see a therapist about that. Yes.
You might
I still say I'm in here. It's just my wife and I. Who the hell else is it going to be? It's me. Hey, I'm in here. Who's it? Yeah, you are you? Okay.
Who is that?
Right. People are bugging me. Let's go to the question. Okay. So, kids, someone put this in my bucket. How do I get my husband to stop asking me? We get a lot of my husband's asking to poke me in the butt, but this is the first time that she is asked to poke him in the butt. And before we do the jokes, Donna, what should she do?
So first of all, to me, either she is not very clear or they need to have a big discussion. I'm wondering why she wouldn't. Like, does she have like if it's enjoyable? I don't think it hurts her any. So like, I don't know, maybe like it's a thing and it's enjoyable to him, and I don't know. But if she doesn't want to, then she needs to be very clear and not make these, like a lot of females do this, well, not right now, or maybe next time, or maybe let me think about it. They're not clear. So if you're clear, it's a no, not ever going to happen. Stop asking me. Then a lot of times the guy gets it. So I think she's not clear.
But I agree with you if he wants it, and it's not. It depends on what he wants in there, I guess, too. How about this ham, or how about this, or her hand? I mean, maybe they need to compromise and find the thing that she's okay with.
Like she could use gloves.
Yeah, maybe she wants to go, look, you go buy a thing that you think is good in there, some sort of dildo, and then we'll give it a try or something. But maybe it's what he's wanting to go in there. I don't know.
So it's not like he can reach it. It's a difficult area to reach. And I knew a doctor who was telling stories about guys that have tried to reach that area with different sized
I was trying to reach my butt and I knocked my finger.
See what happens? You're not supposed to try. Do not try this at home. This is not what you're supposed to be doing.
Okay, so Lindsay, when you and Joe do
Here
this,
it is. So excited for this. Yes.
Let us know.
What are you guys using?
What was the question?
Oh, you know what the question was.
You know what the question was. No, I'm just saying.
We want you to poke his butt.
Because we don't, my wife and I'm not,
Like this.
you know, I wanted that, I wouldn't ask. I don't think
You
I would.
wanted it, you wouldn't ask.
Not from, no, I don't know.
Are you going to ask somebody else, Brad? Like, who else do you ask?
Somebody else. I would go buy something to hook to the wall or something. I don't know, like you know, you put something on the wall, like I don't know. I know. Even if,
Oh,
Well,
that's dangerous.
I guess I understand your impulse to be self-reliant there, but in this question, isn't part of the thrill having her do it to him?
yes, I think that is a lot of the thrill.
The preferred way.
Okay. So Linz, the question is directed at you. If I kept asking you,
Yeah.
to
Why
do
did you
something
not-
with something,
He doesn't have to keep asking it.
don't do I keep asking you?
Would I just blindly do something for love? Is what you're asking?
Well, let's
That's something. It's a thing. We're talking about a specific thing.
that thing.
If
For
Joe,
She's a big Meatloaf fan, and that song is playing in her head right now. She'll do anything for love, but she won't do that.
My answer.
I know my
Yeah,
wife.
well,
Ask her, Joe. Ask her right now.
If I asked you,
Ask her.
this may end the relationship. We made it through quarantine.
just
If I
pretend
asked
and actually ask.
you,
It's role play.
but during sex with something, say I presented you, look what I bought at the store. Would you do that?
listen, I am totally like, I don't judge anyone if that's what they want.
Yeah.
There's no judgment here. But I just don't know that would be my thing.
But would you do it for me if it were my thing?
Yeah, it's his thing, not your thing.
Yeah.
But shouldn't it be pleasurable for both people?
That is the idea for intimacy. Yes, it is.
So, I don't know. I don't know.
I'm going to find this out.
That's this woman's thing. Now, my wife, I bet she would if she would not be thrilled. She would not be happy about it, but I bet we'd find a way to get it done somehow. But
Part of me is
Sure.
surprised at myself that something I didn't want, I'm disappointed I can't have.
you should,
Now he's-
now you want it.
See, but I can't even say, well, now that I can't have it, I want it. That's not true. But I'm still disappointed I can't have it. But, so let's, along this vein, if we're going to continue along this vein, pardon the pun, so then what about oral sex? What about when one partner wants oral sex and the other partner doesn't particularly enjoy the sensation of giving it, but wants to make the other partner feel good? Is that the same thing?
Right. So, Lindsay, if he wanted oral sex, would you give it to him?
No, I think he means vice versa.
You almost said yes, and you had to interrupt yourself. I had a verbal contract recorded on video, and you blew it.
Oh,
But isn't it more, that's more conventional than,
it depends on the culture you live in.
Yeah, it depends on your culture. And it's a lot more work for you, Lindsay. And Donna. It's a lot more work. That seems like a lot of work to do that.
I interpreted what Joe said a little differently. Not every guy enjoys giving oral sex. Not every guy does, but typically women do enjoy that, although some are self-conscious and don't enjoy it as much. So if a woman is saying, come on, would you do that? And he's like, let's say, as strong feeling against it as someone is against putting something in someone's butt, would you keep asking? Like if you switched places, would the female keep asking? And honestly, I don't do guilt trips, and I don't encourage them, and I don't encourage threats. It's one of those things. If it's really something someone does not like or enjoy doing, then if they're doing it anyway, then that's not intimacy. Intimacy is a enjoyable experience for both.
So should you have these things clear before you get married? Don't surprise them years out. But of course, you change too. People change. They want different things as life goes on.
Well, not only do people change, but theoretically, there's infinite combinations, and you can't cover every base before
this position, that position, this position.
Like we didn't know before now that Lindsay was not going to do anything in your butt should you want it. We didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
And now we know it.
Now we know.
She's going, because there are places where there's women who won't do all four from behind. That's just off the table, right? So now let's switch it, Joe. If you ask Lindsay, okay. So I'm just gonna we'll move ahead. We'll move ahead.
Next.
We'll move on.
I think we've covered this. I'm going to reach in the bucket and see if anything comes out that we want to talk about. By the way, if you're out there and you want to ask a question, you can type it in and we will take your question. Wow, Donna, I think we get this one every freaking week. I must have 1,000. But let's do it again for the people that watch. What if the kids catch you having sex? What do you do with them?
What if
So we're just going to let Joe and Lindsay take it since they don't have kids. Take that one, Joe.
Well, you know what? If the kids catch you having sex, the age-appropriate response is important. If they're little kids, it's much different than if they're teenagers and you can talk to them openly, get over it, you knew your parents had sex kind of thing. But honesty, I think, is the best policy. Otherwise, you lead yourself right into a dirty joke. You know, what were you and mom doing? So I think you give them as much information as they can handle depending on their age. Just be honest. It's nothing to be ashamed of unless you're doing the butt thing we were talking about earlier.
Then you really got explaining to do.
That's actually kind of what the answer was last time this question was asked. And now I'm thinking, like, how impulsive can people be where they're not using any preventative measures, like close the door, lock the door, and do it when the kids are sleeping? Like, I don't know, but there's preventative measures that you can.
It happens, though.
Kind of make sure this doesn't happen.
It does happen, and I'll tell you, it actually never, even with my ex-wife and I, when I did have little kids, that never happened. But still, kids find a way to surprise you, and just like when you don't think they're listening, you're sure they're not listening. They are. They escape. They're little Houdinis.
So hold on. Are you talking like catch you having sex because they hear you?
Or walk in on you.
Kids hear you.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
Joe can't put him
on
help him.
Thank you.
I think you broke it.
I think, you know what? I think you're going to get caught having sex audibly no matter what. I don't think any parent of kids has not been caught having sex audibly.
Well, you worry about it. We've got the music going on Alexa. We've got stuff happening. Matter of fact, it becomes silly because now they know all this extraneous noise means you're having sex.
What you're doing.
You need to do something else. But let me say this.
Mix it around.
They're probably at some point going to catch you. It wasn't until he was 13 or so. But sometimes that door doesn't lock right. And now let me tell you, they're not going to catch you once they catch you the first time because they suddenly learn maybe knocking, and that's the first discussion we have. I guess you want to knock, don't you?
Lesson learned.
Yeah, very important life lesson learned right there. You've accomplished something as a parent.
Proud yourself on the back.
Okay.
Question, Brad, if this question is coming up repeatedly, as you said, that just speaks to what I said about kids being resilient, and you can try and childproof your sex life. Not going to work.
Not going to happen. Not going to work. And it could probably come out. I'm going to pull another question right now. This could be the same question. Okay. Should we always do what the kids want to do or what we want to do? Okay, so this is a more provincial question, not about sex, thank God, for the first time ever. Should we always do what the kids want to do or what we want to do? Doesn't there have to be a discussion in this? And you have to do, it depends on the situation, doesn't it? That's always, I hate always questions.
I learned in Sesame Street, there's a word called cooperation. We can compromise, win-win for everybody.
Now, you may have kids that, and Joe may have had this in his life, and you've done it, that they literally freak out if you're not doing what they want to do, but that's a parenting question and not a what are you going to do question.
That's right. You have an issue you need to address if that's the case. And I would just add that cooperation is important, and you can have kid-centric and should have kid-centric days and activities, but overall the decision of what's best for the family to do to spend time together rests with the parents. And if it's not something you can't do what your kids want every time, all the time, because as a parent, that's not fulfilling, but you can almost always find an activity everybody's going to enjoy to some extent together. You gotta cooperate.
And he's right. We have a saying, it's called kids have a voice, not a choice. They can't make big boy decisions. Their brains aren't developed that far, but they should have a voice in things. And if you train them right, like you were talking about not throwing a fit, then you won't have that problem. You'll just have discussions like you were saying and compromise, and let's all talk together about how to plan something, not just a dictatorship, do what I say. I don't believe that either.
Now, that being said, that doesn't mean it might not just fall apart, because they are still kids. Like, I'll give you an instance. We were in England and we wanted to go see a show, and my daughter was, I don't know, 12 or 13 or 14, and she'd seen a lot of Broadway, seen a lot of live shows. This one was about the Little Faces, which was a band that was very famous in England, but not anywhere else. And this was before the Faces, which was Rod Stewart, and they were so we were going to go see this in this beautiful theater that I'd worked as a comedian before. So we're in the place, and Janet and I love the show. She does not like the show, and she was voicing and just grumpy and unhappy the entire time. And we literally had to leave at intermission just because there was no way to deal with it and fix it at the time. If we'd had before or something like that, we should have the time, but we missed the other half of the show because it was going to be so unpalatable.
So now I've been in a very similar situation myself with my kids and taking them to something that they didn't appreciate. So I'm only speaking for me. I don't know if it's the same for you, but in the case of us taking them to a Broadway show because they had a program through their school, and my daughter just not wanting to be there, and we didn't have to leave the show, but she definitely took away from even my son's enjoyment of it. I felt like should have cleared this up ahead of time, should have set the expectations better, should have seen this coming, because there was rumblings and complaining, kind of like a pre-earthquake, that I didn't want to deal with that, and so I had to deal with the earthquake. You know what I mean? Like, as a parent, when I found myself in a situation like that, I feel like I didn't do the work ahead of time because I was already tired, and now here I am with a natural disaster. I should have headed this off.
Well, and I agree. And sometimes, though, you really get in a problem where they just don't like it. They thought they were going to like it. You thought they were going to like it, and it just is not making it. It happens with food a lot, too. They order something they can't stand, or halfway in, you're like, you ordered it, but then they're still hungry, and what then you order. By the way, I did put up Joe and Lindsay's production on YouTube. Go to YouTube, hit Pitch Car Production, search that, and you can see your videos, because you guys do. Let's explain this real quick before I do the ads, and we'll take one more question. But you guys have a YouTube shows where you're having stand-up comics. It's called the Quarantine Comedy Club, and all the money goes to help comics who aren't working, right?
That's correct, including me.
Yes, I was going to say including you. So we do the virtual comedy show, and we have comics in every week, and we do a show on Thursday nights, and we also donate all the money to the comics for help too. So go there and do that right there. Okay, Joe, this is where we do something where I do a couple little things, if that's okay.
Voted Michiana's #1 restaurant, Doc Pierce's will open on Monday, May 18th, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Carryout will also resume with service to your car or walk-in. Come in and enjoy all Doc's classic dishes and appetizers, plus daily specials and drinks. Call 574-255-7737 for reservations, carryout, or curbside. We politely request that all guests wear a mask while entering and exiting the restaurant. Our goal is to ensure the safety of both our staff and our guests. Doc Pierce's, the doctor is in.
And this one.
Hannibal Greatneck III walked into his new 6th grade class, and there was a cage. It sat among the desks like a benign tumor everyone had learned to try and ignore. There was a mystery here, and Handy was just the 11-year-old detective for the job. Don't Feed the Bully, the best-selling tween novel by Brad Tassell. Get it on Kindle or paperback at Amazon.com.
All right, we're back. Linsday has left you during the show. It is a...
See what happens? We should
I'm back.
The show was a tipping point.
So, what was I going to say? Okay, we'll do one more question, and then we will go out. And yeah, Donna, we've had this weird echoey thing. The back, I blame Joe and Linsday, but
Okay.
whatever they're on, it's their fault. Okay, so. This one doesn't understand. It says, "Don't you want someone to take care of your ass when you get old besides me?" Do we have any idea what that could even mean?
Don't you want someone to take care of your ass
when you get old besides me? Don't you want someone to take care of your ass when you get old besides me? I don't.
Was your wife in the audience that day?
No.
Because it's talking to you. It's like, I was talking to Brad. Like someone was like, I don't know. Don't you want? Because I know there's a thing like besides me. What could that be?
Well, first of all, whoever wrote that, no, not you. I don't want that person. No. I'd rather be alone than someone who wrote that on a piece of paper. Horrible. It's a horrible person. I don't
know what they're saying, because there's a thing with relationships like this person's going to take care of you when you're old. So you might want to be a little nicer, because when you're old and can't move well, they get to be in charge of you, and they might want to take out their anger on you. So I've heard that.
I say that about kids.
Yeah, I don't know.
You better treat your kids pretty well, because someday they can really, really make it bad for you. So, okay. So let's do a very simple one, and it can go back to the money question. And Donna, you can tell us the 4 main things that destroy marriage. What makes a strong marriage? Go.
What makes a strong marriage?
Mm-hmm.
It's intimacy, emotional and physical, companionship. So you should actually want to hang with each other and be friends. Communication. You should know how to communicate and not be afraid to share things with your partner. You need to also problem solve. So it's communication, intimacy, companionship, and maybe look cute, maybe be attractive to each other.
Okay, so I also say that you have to agree basically on about 4 things, and that is money and kids and alcohol and religion. If you kind of agree on how you're going to do those things, you might be okay.
I don't know. I've been married like about 30-something years. I don't think we agree on any of those. Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't disagree. Yeah, Joe,
From the amateur, I think that you have to be able to you have to love laughing together. And I think you have to be willing, even when you disagree and you're upset in that moment, you have to be willing to look for what you love about the other person, because often in the middle of an argument, I will look at Linsday and find her the most adorable, even though we completely don't agree with one another. And I know that that's it. I'm lost. I'm gone. She's it.
She gives you the eyes. You're like, all right, I'm out.
Linsday, what about you?
In the middle of an argument, or
just at any time? What is it really? Well, about Joe, what is it about Joe that really makes your marriage work, the basis of it?
No pressure, but you could end the marriage right here.
Honestly, a lot of it is just being able to laugh about everything. Because even on our toughest days, we always laugh together. I don't think there's one day that's gone by where we're not laughing, and it obviously helps that he is a funny comedian. And then also he's just super caring and loving, and I can tell that he is listening and wants to understand and is compassionate and cares.
Oh, well, that's
You will do the butt stuff?
yeah.
And that was what I was trying to say.
Well, that's not happening at this house. I'm going to say this, and it's going to be really dumb. And that is that I've lucked out that my wife, for some weird reason, was attracted to me. There was this weird thing that she couldn't help. And I have spent 26 years trying not to screw that up and ruin it. And I've done okay. That's the only thing. And then we've agreed on other things. So, okay. Well, Donna, Wilburn, thank you. Go to Red Rock Counseling. Go to YouTube and search Pitch Card Productions. Watch all those shows. Get a hold of Joe. Watch those. I'm Brad Tassell. Get a hold of me at just put my name in the computer. Put Brad Tassell. Okay. All right. I'm going to push the goodbye thing, and then we're going to go. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for having us. It was a